Hey guys, so today I'm going to be filming this like super casual sit down video talking about my wisdom teeth surgery. Usually when I do videos like this, my husband Manny will help me set up everything and we'll use like an actual microphone and things like that that he just helps me set up, and also a different camera that he watches on the other side because the other camera doesn't have the flip up screen. But I'm using my vlogging camera, which has a flip up screen, so hopefully this works out. If it doesn't, I'll re-record it. But I just wanted to be really casual because of what I'm talking about. It's just kind of a casual thing, and it's something I recently had done. So I didn't want it to be like too like dressed up, or not that I didn't want that, but Manny's taking a nap right now, and I figured it's fine if it's not super like fancy because it's just a casual talk that we're having. So I got my wisdom teeth out. Today is Sunday. I got them out on Tuesday. And I had a question on my channel today regarding my wisdom teeth on my wisdom teeth vlog. So I'll link that in the description so you guys could check that out. Because I do have a vlog of my recovery, but I don't really talk a whole lot about my actual surgery. So I was actually awake throughout my surgery. I didn't have any anesthesia or anything like that. Now, I want to talk mostly about that because I know that's kind of different and isn't necessarily the norm, at least, in America. And I researched, I think other countries are even more intense about wisdom teeth. I know some even you go to an actual hospital for it. But anyways, I didn't want to be put under anesthesia. I was really, really, really scared of that. I was really nervous. I just didn't like the idea of going under anesthesia at all, like at all. I just had such a fear of it. I deal with anxiety, but that just like heightened it like to new levels, just the idea. I've never liked the idea of, not being in control, like being on any kind of medication that makes you like drowsy or anything. That just is too much for me. I don't like that. I like to be in control, if you will. Not that you're really ever in control, like when you're sleeping, you're not really in control, but it just feels, I don't like the whole under the influence of anything, So, I didn't like being out of control like that, so I did not want to go through anesthesia. I heard a horror story from somebody that was from my hometown with anesthesia, and it's just stuck with me, and I really, really, really did not want to do it. So, I thought I had to, so leading up to the surgery day, I was like, okay, I just have to prepare myself, and I was praying about it and like, God, give me peace about this, because I really was so terrified of anesthesia. And I know that seems so insane, but I was so incredibly scared of going under anesthesia, and I know some people are, so if that's you, maybe you can relate to this. So anyways, I was terrified. I just didn't want to do it. So I was preparing myself, my mom and Manny and everybody, my sister, were preparing me like, you're going to be fine. It's so rare for anything to happen. Like the kind of anesthesia they use in the dentist is different, which that did help. It's not typically general anesthesia. It's typically like a twilight anesthesia, I think is what they call it. And I could be wrong, but I think most dentist offices use twilight. From what I read, general anesthesia needs to be done in a hospital with like an actual anesthesiologist there. But twilight can be administered by the oral surgeon, or maybe even by just a dentist. I'm not sure. I had an oral surgeon. So anyways, I'm sorry if I'm messing with my hair. It's I don't know. So I went Tuesday morning. I went in. My mom and dad were in town. I'm so thankful for that. Because my mom, of course, eases my nerves just like moms do. And so anyways, I woke up on Tuesday morning. I had been preparing myself that for like over a month. I was supposed to have this done in March, and I canceled it because it was too close to Easter, and I'm a worship leader. So I had to be, there for Easter, obviously. So anyways, I canceled it in March, was preparing myself for like 2 months. Like, I have to get this done. I'm going to be put to sleep. I've got to get this done. And so a couple days before my surgery, my dentist called me, or the office called me, and said, this is what time to be here, and we think we can get you in earlier and that kind of thing. Do you want to come earlier? And I was like, yes, please, just get it over with. And I said, so I know, I can't eat before, right? Because I know with anesthesia you can't. And she was like, oh, well, you won't be put to sleep. I mean, unless you just want to be. And I was like, oh my gosh, what? Like, I had the option. And so I knew some people weren't. Like, I had a friend that wasn't put to sleep for it, but it was because she had other health problems, and they said it just wasn't worth it. But I, like, had no idea that I didn't have to be. So I was like, oh my gosh. So I told him, like, let me call you back, because I didn't know for sure if I should be awake. That was like a whole other thing. Like, is it a bad choice? So I talked to my mom and Manny about it, and they were both like, you know what? Ask if you can have nitrous oxide, which is laughing gas, and be numb, and you'll be fine. And they know how I am by anesthesia, so they knew it was a good choice probably for me. So I called them back and I said, hey, you know, can I have laughing gas if I'm awake? And they were like, sure, we can administer nitrous, you know, no big deal. So I was like, okay, cool, I'll do that. So then I start panicking, like, is this a horrible decision? You know, should I not be doing this? Like, is this bad? And I kept asking, like, do you think I can handle this? Like, is this going to be horrible? So I did what you should not do. I Googled it, and I'm telling you guys, after I Googled it, I was like, I have made a bad choice. Like, I've definitely made a bad choice, because to give you guys some, like, backstory to this, I had a tooth pulled out, in the back from a problem that I had with my tooth, that they were just like, you might as well get rid of it, because I had a cavity and the filling had fallen out and it was just a bad thing. So I had a tooth pulled out years ago and I was awake for that. And to be honest with you, that experience was really bad. Like, I had the worst headache ever. Like, the pressure was just like, oh my gosh, it was so bad. So I thought, oh my gosh, I'm about to get 4 of these suckers pulled out, and I'm gonna be awake, and they're even deeper than that one was. At least that one was through the skin. These had to be cut open, and I was like, oh no. And I'm really pretty good with pain. I don't really like panic once I'm in the dentist and they're doing something. Like, it's usually beforehand. So I thought it'd be good, but then I remembered back to that tooth I had pulled out, and I was like, there's no way. I can't. Like, this is gonna be so bad. It's gonna hurt so bad. My head's gonna be hurting, because the actual tooth didn't hurt at that other one, but my head really did. So I was like, what do I do? You know, I've made a bad decision. And I didn't want to put to sleep either, so I was in between. Anyway, the day comes, Tuesday morning, I wake up. I've been panicking for a long time about this. And I wake up that morning and I cried. I was just crying that morning. I was like, I can't do it. I don't want to do it anymore. I can't do it. I was panicking the night before, but that morning I just broke down and cried. And Manny was awesome. He comforted me and he was like, you're going to be fine. It'll be over so fast. You'll be good. I was like, okay. I gotta do it, you know, I'm already doing it, so I gotta go. And so we got there, and I was really scared. You can see me when we get there in my vlog that I'll link. But I get there, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? I was so scared. I wanted to just cry. I went up, signed some things on the little electronic thing they have. And then, before long, I saw the oral surgeon come in. I looked him up online, so I knew what he looked like, and I saw him come in, and I was like, oh gosh. And he had so much stuff with him. Like, he had like bags, and he went back to the car like 3 times, and I was like, great. And I come to find out he had a few surgeries to do that day, so I'm sure everybody kind of had different preferences as far as their anesthesia and stuff. So anyways, they come out and get me, and I'm like, great. And I go in there, and she sits me down in the chair, and they do your blood pressure. And I told her, I was like, my blood pressure is going to be high today. Like, I don't have high blood pressure, but it will be high today because I am so nervous. And she's like, oh, totally normal, totally expected, you know, we get it. So, anyways, they do my blood pressure. It was a little high, but not bad. She said it was actually lower than what she'd seen before. Not too bad, basically, as far as nervous people. And I was trying to breathe and keep it under control. The oral surgeon came in, and I was on the verge of tears to the point where I could hardly talk to him. He was like asking if I had questions. I'm just like, no, just do it. But I did have one question. I asked him, how long is this going to take? Because I knew that if I had an end goal, this is how my mind works. If I can lay there and think, all right, Rose, 20 minutes, you can do 20 minutes. That's how I am with working out and all of that. If I have an end goal, I'm good. So he was like 20 or 30 minutes. Now, I was expecting like an hour because my teeth were pretty impacted and all of that. I was expecting, like, I'm going to have, like, the longest surgery of life, you know, like, the longest one of anybody. And I know my nephew's was only, like, 15, 20 minutes, you know, when he had it done, but he was asleep, and I thought maybe that would make it easier for them to do, and all this stuff. But he said 20 or 30 minutes. He told me that I had some impacted teeth. I think both of them were. I originally thought only one, but I think both my bottom ones were, and then the top ones, I guess, are considered to be impacted. They were all the way in my sinuses, and I come to find out, I think that could have caused a lot of my sinus issues I've been dealing with that I've talked about in my vlogs. But anyways, he was really fast. You could tell he just wanted to get it going, which I like because I'm the same way. Let's do it, you know. So he lays me back, and they give me he gave me the nitrous oxide, the nose, before I laid back, and then he laid me back. And so nitrous oxide, I started breathing that in, and basically I was really honestly kind of nervous about getting that too, because I didn't know how I was going to feel. I don't like the feeling of like feeling, loopy or anything like that. So I was like, I don't know how I'm going to deal with this. But anyways, I smelled like strawberry. I don't know if they all do. I think you can pick different scents, but they gave me strawberry and laid me back and told me to just breathe out of my nose. And instantly I started to feel really relaxed, but I still knew what was going on, and I could still tell my heart was pounding and my legs were shaking from the nerves. But it's so weird because I know my body was reacting in like a nervous way, but I didn't feel nervous, if that makes sense. Like I felt fine. So, and I still knew like, oh my gosh, I hope this doesn't hurt at first, but then as I kind of started breathing it more, I kind of just didn't think about it too much. It was a really weird feeling. But they started giving me the shots for numbing, and I do not like those at all. I always, like, I don't mind shots. I have tattoos, don't mind needles. Shots in your mouth, I can't. Like, I just don't like that. Shots in your leg, arm, whatever, I'll do it. But in your mouth, it's just a whole different game. Anyways, they gave me those, and that was when I was first starting to get it, and it was like, it was hitting me, the nitrous oxide was hitting me, like, hardest at that point for some reason, probably because I wasn't used to it. But I remember him giving me the shots, and I could feel them, and I could tell that they hurt. But it was like, I told my mom afterwards, it almost felt like I was watching him, and my mom told me it would be like this. It felt like I was watching him give me the shots. Like, I could tell that it was me. I knew I was doing it, but it felt like almost like a dream. And it wasn't, the shots didn't feel as intense as they normally do, because nitrous does help to kind of ease that, I guess, because you're not all tensed up or something. I don't know. But it wasn't too bad, and you're not really focused on it. So I just felt like I was kind of watching him, like, it was like this weird dream type of thing, but I could tell, I knew I was there, I knew what was happening, I never was out of it. And I was even thinking, I wonder how much longer, and okay, he's on a second tooth, like I was thinking like that, but I was just relaxed and kind of like in a dreamy type of state. So then he starts, I could tell that he was cutting, but I could not feel it at all. I could just tell from the motion of his hand. And then he starts the pulling. Now this is the part that some people may not like if they're awake. I personally don't really care, honestly. He started pulling, and there is a lot of pressure involved. I won't say pain, because I wouldn't call it pain. For me anyway, your experience may be different, but I was very numb. Could not feel my tongue. It was even numb down my neck, which was very different for me. I'd never had that. But he starts pulling, and there's a ton of pressure. Mine were very impacted, and I have a really small mouth. He had a hard time getting my mouth open wide enough, which is typical at the dentist because my mouth is tiny. But anyways, another reason is because I couldn't really open it because it's small and I was so numb. But he starts the pulling, and it's tons of pressure. But it does not hurt. My head was not hurting this time, which I was like, thank God. I was thinking that while I was doing it. My head didn't hurt, and I think that was a lot to do with the nitrous that helped. But anyways, it was a lot of pressure. Some were worse than others. Like this one up here on my upper right side, I do not remember him doing that one. So I don't know if I was like more out of it at that point than I knew, or if that one was a lot more gentle. It could have been that one was more gentle. But this one down here is the one he started on, the first one that I knew for sure was impacted, the one that had tried to break through the skin. The whole reason that I ended up going and asking about my wisdom teeth in the first place was this little tooth down here. So he ends up starting with that one, cuts it, starts pulling it. That one I don't remember being too bad. He told me before we started he may have to use a drill on this one, but he didn't. He actually just did, the pulling, and I guess removed the bone with that, because they do remove a bone to get to the impacted teeth that are impacted like by the bone. So he did all that. It's pressure, but wasn't bad. I remember even thinking, man, this isn't bad. Much better than the other tooth I had pulled, and that may be because of the nitrous oxide. Because that was the first time I had ever had nitrous. So anyways, he goes on to the next tooth, and a couple of them were, I think this one down here, this one down here was it was impacted, I guess, too. I didn't know that, but it was. And he had to actually use the drill on this one. Now, when I looked it up on Google, they said that the way they remove impacted teeth is with a hammer. And I was like, oh man, if this man tries to bring a hammer to my face, like, we're probably going to have an issue, laughing gas or no laughing gas. I'm not doing that. But it was just a drill. It was a pretty big drill, but just a drill. I mean, again, that may scare some people. I didn't really care. I expected worse, I guess. So I was just like, oh, this is fine. So he told me that he was going to use the drill. I didn't really care. I was like, okay, use the drill. And then he, used the drill and got the tooth out. And I mean, I'm telling you, he was going with these teeth, like 3 minutes each. It felt like 5 seconds each. It was so fast. I don't know how long it was, but I think that the nitrous oxide kind of like messes with your perception of time too, so you don't really know. You feel like you've been there 2 seconds. So anyways, he moved on, and I don't remember him ever doing this tooth, so I don't know how that one felt. The one on this side was more pressured than this side. I remember that, and this side was more painful in the recovery. But anyways, and I am still recovering, so if I'm talking weird, that's why. But so it was a lot of pressure. It was, I remember a couple times just being like, man, that's a lot of pressure, even under the nitrous. So, you know, it was obviously like I wouldn't want to do it every day, but it was not bad. Like at all. It was honestly one of the most pleasant dental experiences that I personally had, and you would never think that with your wisdom teeth. So anyways, he does all that, and then he starts the stitches, which the stitches were, I could see him doing them, like I could see, you know, the stitches coming out when I was looking up at him, but I couldn't feel them at all. I was totally numb. So I saw him stitching me up, and I heard them talking about it. I remember some of the things that they talked about, you know, together, and they said some things to me as well. I remember one time I was laying there, and I got like, I think it was when I was getting the shots, or maybe when he was pulling, and I felt some pressure. I made a little noise, and the assistant was rubbing my shoulder. That was really nice. She was really nice. They're just really nice people at my dental office. But anyways, it was, you know, the stitches didn't hurt at all. I didn't feel them. That was fine. And I remember I walked out, like when I got done, he said, okay, you're all done. And I was like, no way, because I didn't even remember him doing this tooth. And I was like, there's no way I'm done. Like, how? And then they sat me up. They give you oxygen for a few minutes to kind of clear your system of the nitrous oxide, and, you know, breathe in regular, just pure oxygen. And so anyways, they gave me that, and then after that, the assistant ended up telling me everything I could do and couldn't do. They gave me a paper as well telling me what I could and couldn't do, you know, post-op. So anyways, I remember walking out, and I was thinking the whole time, I can't wait till my mom and Manny, because they were sitting in the waiting room, how easy this procedure was. Like, I had such an easy time with it. I remember thinking I would never be put to sleep for that. Like, anesthesia stays in your system for like 48 hours or something crazy like that, so you could be drowsy for a couple days. And so I just didn't want to do that. I always have a weird reaction to medicine, and I knew if it makes other people tired for 48 hours, I'd be tired for like a week, you know, because I don't do well with stuff like that. So I was really thankful that I didn't go under anesthesia. I know some dentists like for you to, because it makes it easier for them. They can just kind of get in and get out, and they don't feel like they have to be as gentle probably. But I was really thankful they gave me that option. Nitrous oxide was definitely the right choice for me. The whole thing took probably, I would say 15-20 minutes for him to get them out, and then I was in there 5 more minutes to receive oxygen. So I think I was in there like a total of 30 minutes, but he wasn't doing it the whole time. Part of it I was getting oxygen, and part of it she was talking to me. So it was really fast. I felt like it was faster than when I got that one tooth pulled out, and I think part of that might be because it was an oral surgeon and not just a dentist. The first tooth that I had pulled out years ago was just a dentist, and not that there's anything wrong with dentists, but I feel like oral surgeons probably are a little more trained in that type of thing. I mean, honestly, if you are scared and you're reading Google and watching YouTube videos and people are terrifying you, I promise you it is not that bad. The recovery was worse than the procedure, but the recovery wasn't bad either. I mean, not like what you would think or what you've probably heard. I feel like over the years, they really advanced wisdom teeth removal. I won't talk too much about the recovery because I have vlogs showing you guys that. I'm still recovering a little, but I was able to lead worship this morning and all of that, so it's been really pretty good. But if you're kind of on the fence, do I get anesthesia? Do I not get anesthesia? I'm terrified of anesthesia. What do I do? My advice to you, if you think you'll panic because of the pressure, or, you know, if you really just don't want to see that drill, or I know some people have a real phobia of that kind of thing, you will see a drill, you will see him giving you stitches, you will see, you know, you will have a lot of pulling, you will, you know what I mean, like you'll see stuff, and you will know what's going on. Now, the nitrous oxide does take away that like absolute fear of it, and it calms you down, but you will know what's going on. So if that scares you, then be put to sleep. I mean, they're professionals, you're going to be fine. I just try to tell myself they do this every day, tons of times, you know, not that it makes me feel any better, honestly, but I just try to tell myself that. But if you are not scared of that and you're just like, my main fear, if you're like me and you're like, my main fear is that I'm going to be under anesthesia and I don't like that idea, then don't be. If you have that option, I mean, maybe some places don't give you that option, but if they do, 100% don't be under anesthesia. I would do it again and not be under anesthesia. Honestly, it was such an easy procedure. I cannot say that enough. And it wasn't that I necessarily had an easy procedure. I had impacted teeth. I had teeth in my sinuses. I had, you know, a big thing. But, and I know that's normal and a lot of you will have that as well. But, you know, don't be scared of it. It's, I promise you, so fast. And just make sure you do your research on your oral surgeon and that he is good. And I mean, most of them probably should be, but, you know, go to somebody good. And if you can't afford, you know, actual, like, sleeping anesthesia, or if you just don't want to be under it, nitrous oxide is an amazing option. I know there's other options as well. You don't have to be under nitrous. You can just be fully alert, and I mean, you're fully alert with nitrous, but, you know, you can just be just numb. But I would recommend nitrous for sure. It's like $40 more at my dentist's office, and it was totally worth it. So that's kind of my story. I promise you guys, I wanted to make this because I wanted you guys to know it is not scary. And I know so many people will try to tell you that it's so terrifying and it's just so like, oh my gosh, you know, I can't do it. And they used a hammer on me and they, you know, I wanted to pass out. It was so much pain. They'll tell you that. And maybe some people had that experience. I promise you guys, I had such a good experience. I would do it again if I had to. Thankfully, I don't. But I would do it again awake if I had to. You can even see in the vlog, I kept saying, that was so easy. That was so easy. I was so shocked that it was so easy. I worried for nothing. Honestly, I worried for absolutely nothing. And usually that's the case. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this chill video. I'll see you guys next time. If you have any more questions about my wisdom teeth surgery, let me know in the comments below. I'll see you guys later. Have a great day.